Listen, nothing changes your life like decision. I mean real decision though. Not where people go, well, I'll try, or I kind of decided I want to give this a shot. The word decision comes from incision in Latin, to cut off from. And when you make a decision, you cut off from any possibility except the thing you've committed to. As I always tell people, if you want to take the island, burn the boats. I mean, if you make a real decision, every bit of you is committed to something, it's amazing how life will move for the force of nature of a human being, man or woman, that says, this is how it will be. I don't know how I'm going to get it done, but I know this is what I'm going to do. I know why I'm going to do it. It was Martin Luther King who said, any man who hasn't figured out what he's willing to die for isn't fit to live. If you can find something you're so excited about, if you can find something that will drive you with that certainty, and you add to that decisiveness, you can change anything. You don't like your job, change it. Oh, but there's no jobs out there. Bull, right? Change it, start the job. Change who you are in the job where you are, and enjoy yourself. Change your perception, change your appreciation, change your gratitude, change your daily rituals so you start to enjoy things. Change what you notice. Change from trying to get something to trying to give something. The whole game will change. Decisiveness is the ability to make a decision even though you're uncertain once again. What keeps people from making a decision? Fear of failure. I remember I had a chance to get to know General Norman Schwarzkopf during the time in which he was commanding our forces, an amazing man. And he would step over there in Desert Storm, as they called it in those days, and he could command a guy that was just brilliant. An officer who came out of, Harvard or background of Princeton, and he could take a kid from the inner city and just have that same command and connection with them. And I think part of what they respected about him is he respected everyone himself. He had this connection with people. But the other thing everybody respected was the man was decisive. And I asked him where he developed that decision-making capability, just the willingness to just make a decision and trust. And he said, Tony, I'll tell you where. I worked for this general when I was very young, and I was his assistant. And he said, I remember there was a research project that the Pentagon had worked on for that time. He said, if I remember right, like 5 years. And there were arguments. It was a very strategic decision for where the Defense Department was going to move towards in the future, how they were going to operate. And he said there were arguments for both sides. And for 5 years, they'd gone back and forth and nothing was resolved. And they came to the general that he was serving at that time as the assistant. And they had a meeting, and the meeting lasted 1 hour. And at the end of the hour, the general stood up and said, do that. And he picked one of the two, and he did it with absolute certainty. And in the military, you salute, and you take your orders, and you go. He said, but Schwarzkopf said he was just curious, really curious, to know, how could he get up and make a decision like that? Because Schwarzkopf said, I was the one doing all the research. And there was loads and loads of research, and I know he hadn't read it all. And he said, it bothered me that he'd just make a decision like that without knowing everything he could possibly know. And so he said, Schwarzkopf said, I finally went to him and said, sir, permission to express myself freely. He said, permission granted. He said, sir, how could you make that decision? He said, there are reams and reams and reams of information. You had a 1 hour meeting, you heard 20 minutes of discussion for both sides, and you decided the entire direction where things are going to go for the armed services, for this part of the armed services. And he said, how could you possibly do that? You don't have all the information. He said, no one does. In fact, information is important to an extent, but ultimately action is what needs to be taken, and someone needs to decide. He goes, well, how do you know you made the right decision? He said, no one has made a decision, young man, in 5 years and half a decade. What I decided will be right, because either we'll put all our resources and we'll make it right, or if it's wrong, we'll discover that quicker than sitting on the fence for another 5 years, and we'll find out it's not right and we'll change. Leadership is making decisions. If you're going to lead your own life, you got to make decisions. And what Schwarzkopf said is he realized rule number one in life is when put in charge, when put in command, take charge. Make the decision. If it's right or wrong, you're going to find out quicker than if you sit around. And the interesting thing is the more you make decisions, the better you get. What makes somebody a leader? What makes somebody a leader is they're willing to make the decision other people won't make. They want to put themselves on the line, knowing that you're going to be wrong in some of those decisions, but you're going to find out quicker, and you can simply adapt and change your approach to still get where you want to go. Be decisive. Don't like your body? Change it. Don't like your relationship? Change it. Start by changing you. If you've changed you, it's still not right, then change it. But the way you make any change happen starts with a decision. All action, all results are mothered or fathered, if you would, by a decision. What's one small decision you can make right now that would take you in a direction you know you need to go? What's a big decision that might be really tough, but if you really made it, truthfully, it would take you on a new direction of your life, because whatever direction you head into will lead to an ultimate destination or destiny. When you know what's right, it's time. When you're still fearful, it's still time. You want to change your life? Decide. Decide something you're going to do. Decide something radical. Commit an act that moves you forward instead of thinking more, because we all can get caught up. I tell people, you get in your head, you're dead. The brain is a great thing to strategize with, but there's a point which you got to get back in your heart and you got to put yourself on the line and do something. So if you're going to thrive this year, bring certainty to your decision making by just putting yourself in that state and trusting. Trust your creator, not just a manager of life. What do you have to do? Get a vision for what you want. What else? Decide. And step 4, real quick, act. There is no such thing as decision without action. A real decision, you cut up things off and you make it happen. You do something. And I've always found in my life, never leave the sight of making a decision to something that's important without doing something in that moment that commits you to follow through. Take some action in that moment. Because otherwise, here's what happens. You get excited or something makes sense to you, you're passionate about it, and you go, I'm going to go do this. And then you go home and you get caught up in emails and phone calls and other people needing things from you. The next thing you know, you're out of state and you don't follow through. Has it happened to you before? I can promise you if it hasn't, it will in the future. People that succeed, when an opportunity is there, they trust. They trust. If I'm going to thrive, this is here in my life for a purpose. Life isn't happening to me. Life is happening for me. And even this pain or challenge or this opportunity is something I got to find a way to make use of. I need to make a decision, and I need to do something right now to move things forward in the direction of what I really want for my life. Even if I don't know the final destination, I need to move in that direction. I need to take some form of action. Most people, they have all these visions. Maybe they start to make a little sort of decision, but they don't make a real decision because they don't act on it. And if you don't act on it, your ideas, your dreams will die in your mind. They'll die on your lips. And think about it. Most people in North America, around the world, the Western world, are they truly fit, strong, and healthy? Do they truly have a relationship that's totally passionate? Do they love their work? Are they economically free? The vast majority, you and I both know the answer is no. If you want to be like most people, then what you got to do is figure out how to survive. If you want to lead, you got to thrive. And you have that capability, and you're probably already doing it. I'm probably speaking to the choir to some extent. If you're still watching this right now, you have to turn me off as a raging maniac who's on a rant, because that's what I am. I'm on a rant right now. A rant to call to your soul to say, no matter how great life is, take it to the next level. Find the way to thrive on the very things that stop other people in their tracks. Thrive on what produces fear inside you and in other people. Thrive on something that you envision that you have a higher purpose for. Thrive by being decisive. Thrive by taking massive action. And if the massive action doesn't work, if what you try doesn't work, just simply try something else. And if that doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else until you find what works. Now you can speed that up by modeling, by finding somebody who's already getting the results that you want to get in your life. Somebody who already has lost 30 pounds and kept it off. They aren't lucky, it's been 5 years. Somebody who started with nothing and now they're financially free and their family has an extraordinary quality of life. Why not figure out what they do? Somebody who truly is happy, not because everything's going their way, because they find a deeper meaning and a richness in everything around themselves, whether it be their children or nature or even problems. Because obviously, if we have no problems, we feel dead inside. Problems can either destroy you or call you to become more. If you look at the biggest challenges in your life, if you brought certainty to it, if you brought a vision beyond the problem, if you made some decision of what you're going to change, even if you didn't know how, and if you took immediate action with enough intensity, massive action, you probably found the cure-all. You probably found a way to adapt and get where you want to be. That's what thriving is really all about.